Hey everybody, and welcome to our knitting tips and tricks series. In this video, we're going to teach you how to join a new ball of yarn in the middle of a row. It doesn't always work out that you end with a skein at the beginning or end of a row, so you need to know how to attach your new yarn in order to work from the beginning of a row should you run out. So you want to make sure that you stop knitting when you leave about a 6 to 8 inch tail. That gives you enough to tie it and secure it to the new skein, but also to be able to come back later and weave in those ends. So you want to leave yourself with about 6 or 8 inches. I'm just going to lay my work down and I'm going to stretch out the remaining working yarn like so. I'm going to grab the piece of new yarn from our skein here, and I'm simply going to lay it down flat right next to the working yarn. I'm going to attach these two pieces. In order to do that, I'm simply going to pick up the two ends and I'm just going to loop them over each other like so. You can see I just have this little loop. Then you're going to take those two ends and you're going to just push them through that circle that you just created. You'll see those two ends then come through, and we just pull it snug but not too tight. You don't want to pull it too tight because later we're going to need to undo this knot so that we can weave in our ends. So now you'll see that I've successfully attached those two pieces of yarn together. I've pulled them into a knot, but I haven't pulled it too tight. Now I'm just going to pick up my knitting and resume knitting across the row. So you'll see I have these two ends where I attached. This is the yarn from my previous skein, and this is the yarn from my new skein. I'm simply going to keep knitting until I come to that knot. So I'm going to knit a couple more stitches, and you'll see when you get to that knot, you're just going to keep wrapping it around just like normal. And you can see that the knot is just going to kind of fall to the back of our row. Once you get to that point, you're just going to make sure that you kind of tuck these other ends aside, picking up your working yarn and just finishing the row. Don't worry about that knot because later on you're going to come back and you're going to weave those ends in and you won't even know that it's there. So you've successfully joined a new skein of yarn in the middle of a row.